Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the zodiac sign Taurus and enemies, and yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, anyway, people. Well, the first thing, as far as Taurus and enemies go, well, the one that obviously stands out, of course, is the sign that's going to be on the seventh house cusp in a solar or natal chart, which is Scorpio. Now, these are the open adversaries, so Taurus may very well attract, as far as an open enemy or adversary, somebody with the sun, moon, or ascendant in Scorpio, or it could simply be people that embody Scorpio-like characteristics, such as people that are very resilient, resourceful, vengeful, vindictive, ones that are very powerful, and they could also be and people that are fixated and obsessive, or somebody that may people that may be in a Scorpio-like profession, such as a coroner, psychologist, psychiatrist, people in the supernatural field, the occult, astrology, even people that are investigators, people that work in forensics. Now, the thing also is, as far as the hidden enemies go, that's of course the 12th house cusp, and very often in a solar or natal chart, Aries will fall on the 12th house cusp for Taurus. Now, and as far as the hidden adversaries go, it could be somebody, of course, that has an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant, or it could simply be people that embody Aries-like characteristics. It could be people that are very combative, militant, very aggressive and assertive people that are very outspoken, and ones that will speak their mind very quickly, people that are hot-tempered. Now, the thing also, it could just be people also that might be in Aries-like fields, such as, well, people in combative fields, for example, such as the martial arts, boxing, wrestlers. It could be people that are, see some other Aries like fields. It could be law enforcement, could be another example, or people that are leaders or what have you. Those are, I mean, those are people that have, or people that just they are in some kind of position where they show leadership. People in the military, soldiers. Those are some people that Taurus might attract as far as hidden enemies or adversaries. And people will ponder sometimes. It's a good question. Well, why do why would people attract those hidden enemies that are on the 12th house cusp? Why does it work out like that? Well, the thing about it is, the sign that's on the 12th house cusp often is, I mean, it's really, it is actually not just all, it is about those suppressed qualities, so those ones that we have a hard time seeing in ourselves. So the 12th house is the house cusp of hidden adversaries or hidden enemies. So therefore, maybe there's a correlation with that, because maybe what we can't see in ourselves, we have a hard time seeing as far as a hidden enemy goes. I mean, we have a hard time seeing those qualities in ourselves as far as the sign on the 12th house cusp very often. And we also have a hard time seeing people represented by that sign on the 12th that could be hidden enemies or adversaries. So I think there's a little correlation with that. Now, keep in mind too that those aren't the only enemies that Taurus can attract. Keep in mind that also the signs Leo and Aquarius are square by sign, so they could be adversarial as well. Now, Leo, of course, is squared by sign, and the thing about Leo is Leo can bring unnecessary drama to Taurus. Taurus often likes their peace and tranquility, and with vociferous Leo around, that often does not happen. And Taurus, I mean, really, Taurus can really, as far as Leo goes, Leo is very extroverted and outgoing, and Leo might not like the hermit-like qualities that Taurus often has. Taurus is often a homebody and introverted, very much like Cancer. Now, Another thing too, as far as the enemies that Taurus can attract, well, Aquarius, one of them, Aquarius is of course square by sign. Uh, Taurus may be rebuffed simply by Aquarius's unpredictable behavior, and this could exasperate Taurus. And Taurus might come across as too boring, too monotonous for Aquarius. There's often many differences in viewpoints between these two signs, because Aquarius is about being progressive, is about being futuristic, looking at some ideas and concepts for the future, while Taurus is very conservative and very stagnant that way in terms of what in terms of moving forward. This is not to say that Taurus doesn't have intellectual ability or they can't be cerebral, but they are often reluctant to kind of go forward or look at, reluctant to maybe accept concepts that might be new and different, and like preferably the true and the tried in most cases. So anyway, well, another thing is Taurus, well, as an enemy, well, Taurus is generally very passive and easygoing if they're not provoked. Many know that Taurus could be infuriated if they're deeply provoked or aroused, and once you make an enemy of Taurus, Taurus can be one of those perpetual enemies that you can have for life. Taurus can be a friend for life, but if you push them to the point of their endurance, they could also be an adversary for life as well. They could actually be very formidable and very obstinate opponent. They are a really, I mean, second to Scorpio, I think, in terms of the toughest enemy I think one could actually have. And the thing is, on the other side of the coin, and I'm being facetious about this, of course, people, if Taurus is an enemy of you, well, maybe you can get him or her, get a rise out of him or her, perhaps by making more money than that person and flaunting it, perhaps acquire more possessions than him or her, and have things that just have your net worth be a little bit higher than his or hers, and maybe that would aggravate your Taurus enemy. But of course, I'm just joking about doing that. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Taurus enemies, and stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about Gemini enemies. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.